I got it right here for you. Without further ado, my boy, Big Z, Zander Krause, joins us now. How you doing, bro?
What's up, Sil? Are you taking a shit on me? I didn't even get on the show yet, and you take a dump on me. What the hell, dude?
Come on, man. You know I love you, bro. It's all good.
I know. All good.
3 days, dude. Countdown begins here, man. What are you thinking here? I mean, you think they're going to settle for the 2 and 3?
No, I don't. Stop it. This is a Sileoism. They're getting a 1 and a 3. It'll come on June the 4th, which I think would be a Thursday.
I got Wednesday.
All right, Wednesday or Thursday. I'm good with that. And goodbye to AJ Brown. It is what it is. But I don't think it. I think they're gonna have to. They can make hay without him. I mean, you act like Sileo that the first thing a team needs when they want to be a good organization is a diva wide receiver. Don't go and get anything until you get your diva. And if you lose your diva, you're cooked. I don't agree with that, Sileo.
Well, I don't think you're going to win with stiff wideouts either.
You think Mekhi Lemons is stiff?
No. I think those other guys are average. But here, so let me lead you down here now. Every single move that you have made, the Eagles, I should say, have made, the inevitables here. Octavian Wicks, you gave a 5 and a 6 and 26 and 27, between 12-5 and 14-7-5 for him. You moved up 3 spots to get Mekhi Lemon. You brought Filet Mignon in as your new OC. All of this is without the premise of AJ in the building, correct?
Yeah.
They're not keeping that, dude. There's no
What an appropriate nickname for Sean Mann. When you go to a nice steakhouse, typically one of the more expensive cuts of meat on the steak, even though it's one of the least flavorful meats, if you're a steak guy, you would know this, is the filet mignon.
Yeah. Well, I think he's hamburger helper, but it's okay. I mean,
he's not hamburger helper.
Hey, let's see here. But
you could call Kevin Patullo hamburger helper after the evidence that he's given you, but you can't call Sean Mannion that yet.
I don't know about that after what I heard him doing those victory laps down in South Florida.
Look at Prince. Sil's built like a laundry basket. Roast him back, LOL. Yeah, I mean, the guy took a shit. My hairline, by the way, is fucking perfect. Actually, I think it's starting to come back. I think it's starting to come back, if you guys can see.
Well, I'll tell you what, married life won't do that for you, bro. Trust me when I tell you. How you doing here?
All right. Shave it right off.
Go bald right there, huh?
Take it right off.
All right. So, hey, do you believe the new offensive scheme is going to fix the Eagles' offense?
No, but I think it can help get more out of the offense. I don't agree with that guy who said, "Oh, the scheme change is bigger than any player on the team." No, I don't agree with that. I mean, look, I'm a players first approach. That would be my thought process with it. But I do think there are different degrees to which a scheme can help an offense and help players and help, production and things of that nature. So I think it was time for a change. But I also think it's very fair for you as someone who's a little bit more maybe pessimistic on the team to say, well, why are you doing this? I understand that as well. But, I think it was time for a change. The offense was too bad to not do it. I think there's a degree to which they could be better. But at the end of the day, if the players don't play well within that scheme, well, the scheme, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter who created it. It doesn't matter who calls the plays if the players don't play well. So I think the players are still more important than the scheme, but I do think, they're at a crux point here where can a scheme marginally improve the offense even without drastic changes to the offensive personnel, even though you could probably say there is drastic changes by losing AJ. I think you are at that point.
Schemes always have to fit the player's skill set. That's not always the easiest thing to match up. You know why? Coordinators and players sometimes don't match up. Remember when Michael Irvin was on, he said, Chan Gailey had this whole fucking idea of having this offensive scheme that it ran through everybody. And Michael Irvin was like, whoa. I'm the passing game. You run that bitch through me. This is how we're going to win ball games. And you got a third-team rookie out on the field. That's not a way to coach a talented. You think that's the right scheme for Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman and Emmett? That's not the right scheme. Okay? When you're North Turner going, passing game goes through him, run games go. Now remember, you're talking about generational talent too, with Irvin, Emmett, and Aikman. These are guys that work together. You can make the argument that the Cowboy triplets were probably the greatest 3-player combo that you had that won games. I'm not saying they're the best at their respected positions, except for Emmett, maybe. But to get all that combination together, this is, I think, the challenge for Mannion. What makes those players better? Is it the scheme, or are they going to be fixing plays, finding the right plays for a guy? This is what I think Jalen Hurts does great. When Jalen Hurts is up-tempo, I think that offense is efficient and effective because you keep the defensive personnel on the sidelines. Substitutional situations can't come in, and they run them down. How many times have you seen the Eagles every time they go up-tempo, Zander? Boom, boom, boom. They're down the field. They're efficient. I think if they do more of that and find more of that skill set with him under center, I think that's going to be beneficial. I don't think him sitting back there doing this and looking around, that's not going to work.
I agree with that, yeah. I mean, they have to build things in to make the offense. I mean, they also have to understand that it's the quarterback's first year in this system. So, like, you don't ask, you can even use an extreme example like a guy like Matthew Stafford. You're not going to ask Matthew Stafford in year 1 in a system to play like Matthew Stafford in year 4 in a system. There's just different things you add on. You get more comfortable. I mean, you even heard it on the flip side in Philly this week when I think it was Zach Bond, not Jordan Davis, who's talking about now Vic Fangio knows the players. He knows what their capabilities are. He knows their strengths and their weaknesses. Now he's adding things to that defense. So I think they have to have an approach that allows Jalen to, work his way into the system. But I would agree with you. I mean, look, Mannion will be stupid if he chooses to make Jalen Hurts a player that he's not completely. I think we could all agree on that. You don't take a player who became an all-pro, and get rid of all the things he does the best. That's just bad coaching. So I don't think he's going to do that. But how do you mesh him into the new scheme? How do you ramp him up? How do you get him better? The one thing I do feel confident on with Jalen is, and I've always loved this about Jalen, but Jalen's a high character guy. So I think he's going to work his ass off to be able to do it, especially now that he knows what they're trying to implement at this time of the year. Now, ability is ability to some extent. So if he's unable to do it, I don't think it will be for lack of effort or trying or any of those things. And we'll be able to know. I think we'll be able to know pretty quickly. But it is on the coaches, I think, too, to also give Jalen an on-ramp. Okay, you've never done this. That's not to say you can't do it, but you've never done this. Let me make your job easier while we ramp you up. It's like a first-year quarterback. Now, he's obviously not a first-year quarterback, but you don't throw everything at him, right away. So I think they got to have that, but they also can't, they can't dumb it down or water it down to the point where it's ineffective or not creative. So it's kind of a fine line to walk, but I do still think they got to do it.
See, this is why you give me great topics. Because here's an incoming great topic.
That's normally not a good thing.
Who needs to have more patience than this year? Jalen, Nick, or Sean? And what I mean by this is the most experienced guy in the building is Jalen Hurts. When does Jalen do this? Man, what the fuck is that?
Well, did he lose that?
Remember, they got heat on him too now.
Did he lose the privilege of being able to do that last year when the offense is 25th in the league?
Whoa. Now I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Whoa. You hired your fucking butt buddy, and your butt buddy was brought in here, didn't know what the hell he was doing. He's supposed to be fucking helping me out.
All right. Well, you were a defensive lineman.
Okay, listen, if I made mistakes in some of the play calling, so you want me now to do some of the things that you want to implement by setting pass protections, you want me to do this, I've got to sit here and listen to a guy run plays, like Jeff Stoutland said, bad plays in the bad plays. And Nick, you're sitting there holding your Johnson. I mean, dude.
Radical accountability. That's what I believe. Everybody's got to be accountable. I mean, if you're sitting there pointing finger, well, Sileo, you
I'm
didn't
50
make it.
and 18
You
in
didn't
4
have a
years,
good
bro.
game at Miami because actually it was your D-line coach. You'd say, fuck that. I got to play better.
Okay. No, but if you're running me into a wall, I'm going to look at my fucking coach and go like this. That's not the play we need.
That's
I'm
fair.
not going to Jerome and I are not going to sit there and go, hey, Butch, what the fuck you bringing pressure for? We don't need it. You're creating a gap in the defense, and there's a lane for that guy to run up the middle of the field.
Yeah,
we're going to say that.
That's fair. I mean, I think everybody's got to be accountable to what happened in the past. And it's
my point is patience. Like, how long does Jalen go before Jalen goes, this guy's running me off a cliff?
Well, it depends does Jalen, what is the alternative is what I would ask him. Do you want to go back to what we ran?
Would you rather
that clammed up and that stopped working?
If you were the captain of a boat, would you rather run the ship into an iceberg and have somebody else run it into an iceberg while you're on it? And you're accountable for it?
Both sounds like pretty shitty options, my friend.
But I'd rather run that boat into the iceberg myself than sit there and have somebody else run the end of that.
That ship has sailed. I mean, you want to stay on the analogy.
Well, no, we're here again.
No, yeah, but the ship that he drove is already underwater. This is the new ship that's been put into the water.
Okay, now we got a new boat here.
Yeah, new boat. Okay, new boat, Sileo.
New boat, and I have the history of last year and 2 years ago of having hit an iceberg. And in the middle, when things are working well, I won a Super Bowl. Who has the patience? Who do you think will have to have more patience this year on letting this thing develop? Because Zander, I'm sorry, I disagree with a lot of people in Philly. I don't think this is going to be as smooth as people think right away. I think you're probably going to get better towards the end of the year. And that you know what? You may have a 10-7 record and go in the Super Bowl and win it because you got better by the end of the year.
Yeah, maybe. Okay? I mean, I think they actually have a chance to start out pretty good just because, one, I don't think the competition in those first 2 weeks is that great. And then I also think, like you said, the benefit of the unknown can actually go to the Eagles' favor here. I feel like they used to be too close to the vest about shit, but this is actually the summer to be close to the vest. I mean, you have an advantage here where nobody knows what this Eagles team, it's been one of the best teams in football the last 4 years, is going to look like or what they're going to try and run. So I think that's an advantage for the Eagles this year, at least early on. And then they're going to have some growing pains in the middle of the season. That's kind of how I see it. And then they play strong, late, I think would be the ideal situation and gets them to that 12-win mark this year for the Birds. But I think that's fair. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but
can't wait.
Do you have confidence that Jalen Hurts can be this player? You don't, right?
None.
Well, that's why you're so hard on the offense.
Yeah, none. And I don't believe in Sean Minnow. I just you
see that slick name change right there after I push back.
Yeah, Sean Minnow is not going to be. I don't know. Listen,
Sean Minnow. Oh, God.
If you go back to USS Minnow, when you go back to and you go back to what that kid was at 22, I'm all over that guy. You keep rowing further away from the dock, someone's drowning. All right. So,
we're learning how to swim.
Okay. I like it. I do.
You're just not look, you weren't a believer when they ran the other offense. It is what it is. It's okay. You're entitled to your opinion. You weren't a believer 3 years ago. Jalen Hurts will never win a Super Bowl. You're not a believer in the new offense. I think they could bring back anybody right now as a coach, and you wouldn't be a believer in the offense. It's okay.
Right. You're right. There were two dudes I never thought would win a Super Bowl. Sam Darnold and Jalen Hurts. You're dead
They went back to back.
They went back to back. You're damn right, dude. All right. So here, how does Zander Krause package up with A.J. Brown being part of the exodus and the additions? How do you look at this offseason so far?
I think pretty good. I mean, I also think that it's hard when you have this many paid players to make as many moves as others. Like you're a little bit more backed in the corner. Like you can't make as many moves. So I think they got better on defense. Tariq Woolen's better than Adoree Jackson. I think Jonathan Grenard's a better player than Jalen Phillips. I think Cooper and Quinion are a third year in. I'm hoping that Jalix and Nolan can take a step forward. I feel good about Jalix. Nolan, I think it's still a little bit of a wait and see, but he looked like he was beefed up a little bit. So I feel better about the defense year 3 with Vic. And then offensively, I think you lost the head of the snake in a way in AJ, but I do think they're more deep. They have a deeper and better depth at that spot, than they've had since they got AJ. So I think they've done pretty good on the offseason. I kind of like the coaching hires. I liked Mannion when they hired him. I mean, that doesn't mean I know what he's going to be, but just from the eye test, I like Mannion. And then, I mean, how much worse can it get? I mean, I know they're losing AJ, but can it get worse?
Well, it could be more confusing with less clarity.